Dear editors, what's the easiest thing to do in theory, but is actually impossible to do IRL? Having a decent amount of free time. If I analyze my life on paper, I'm all like, geez, I'm usually home by 5:30 or so. That gives me like 7 hours before I need to go to sleep. I can do a lot with 7 hours, then, somewhere between changing clothes, running to the store, eating dinner, dealing with some random boss bit of paperwork I need done for tomorrow, taking the phone call from my mom, cleaning up, etc. Bam, it's 11 PM. Winning an argument, especially with someone who is not informed, you would think that 1. Showing sympathy for their position, to establish common ground. 2. Introducing additional information to the discussion. 3. Explaining how they can check sources for validity. 4. Suggesting that this additional information can allow them to hold a more informed position. But no, all you get is some dong who folds his arms over his chest and says, I don't believe you. Nothing is more powerful than willful ignorance. You can't reason someone out of a position they didn't reason themselves into. Write a novel. JK. Rowling was a single mom when she wrote Harry Potter. What's your excuse? Even those who concede financial success is a long shot buy into the whole finishing is its own reward balls. Nope. It's not like a marathon where you get a sense of accomplishment and a 26.2 bumper sticker. Every novel I've ever finished was an unreadable mess that left me feeling like a failure. Those few little droplets at the end of a can. You'd think to just put the can upside down, but that doesn't work somehow. Until you accidentally knock the can over and it's like a full can of Coke spills on your carpet. Gold from lead. I mean, it's just to remove a few more protons on there, changing its atomic number. How hard can that be? It's actually a lot easier to make lead from gold than vice versa. Also, while it is possible, via a process called nuclear transmutation, to turn lead into gold, the resource and energy expenditures completely undermine any profit you might make from the effort. Transform your life. There are a million books which give you guidelines about how to change your life, but actually doing it is a Herculean task. Planning the changes, making lists, goals, etc. It's easy, but when it comes down to following those things, minute after minute, day after day, it turns out to be the most difficult, although not impossible, thing you've attempted to do. Super Smash Bros. Makes double jumping look so effortless that when I was little I didn't realize it wasn't possible. You just jump and then jump again. What's so hard? Your controller needs to not use tap jump. Makes it impossible. I'm joking. World peace. Everyone just needs to chill the frick out and stop being buttholes to each other. Thanks for the guild, kind stranger. One step closer to world peace. Frick it, he's right. Drops bayonet. Having a good work ethic. On paper it's super easy, you just sit down and do the work. No problem. In reality, it's a lot harder. Maybe this is just me. I've got anxiety problems, but it's almost painful to actually work hard on something that I don't find intrinsically rewarding. And I know I should just suck it up and do it, but it's a lot easier to say that than to actually do it. I've only got so much willpower to give. After you exhaust that day in and day out, I feel like that becomes literally impossible. I don't know if this fits the bill. Certainly not impossible, but the discrepancy between how simple it is to lose weight and how easy it is incredible. Forgiving someone. You never truly forget what they did. It will always be a thought in your head when you see them or talk about them. Forgiving is letting the pain around a certain thing go. Doesn't mean you have to trust that person ever again, or treat them the same as you did before. It just means treating them with civility, not necessarily trusting them like you did before they needed your forgiveness. Quit smoking. Just don't buy cigs anymore. Lose weight. Just eat less and move more. For what it's worth, I've quit for over 2 years now, and have lost over 120 pounds. But saying either one is as easy as the face value statement is a disservice to those that have overcome the challenge. Making good choices in life. People act first of all as if there are always an array of choices which include good ones. For many people, life is a sequence of making choices about lesser evils, not good and bad. Second, choices are not made in a vacuum. They are driven by the forces formed by your personal history, biology, and current circumstances. When people give advice about such things, they often do so from a position of never having had to make the same choices as you and not having a similar history and act as if it's simple. For example, they tell alcoholics that they just need to get up each day and choose not to drink. However, most alcoholics don't have effective internal coping mechanisms and their bodies are reliant on alcohol to varying degrees. They lack the psychological resources to choose otherwise, and many have issues driving them to hide from their problems, or they self-medicate other conditions. The choices you make are often connected to a web of complex factors that can't be solved by making one or two different choices that are objectively better. This is particularly so with addiction, which sets up brain responses such that you don't find other palliative measures as pleasurable. While I'm using addiction as an example, it's not the primary point I'm trying to make. It's not easy to make better choices. If it were, people would have already made them. No one wants to be screwing up again and again or going down an unhealthy path. I grew up poor and now I'm rich. Therefore any poor person can be rich if they just work harder. Ask a girl out face to face. Yeah, it seems easy enough, but as soon as I start talking my palms get sweaty. I fumble my words, and I shout a little bit. You were probably okay up until that last bit. I would definitely prioritize that one. Maybe see a doctor. Probably not going to get much love. I work in manufacturing. Making the same thing is impossible. Dimensions will never exactly match. Everything on this planet that is made by man is unique. I work in manufacturing. I maggot in accounting. Lose weight or get in shape. In theory it's so easy, all you have to do is eat less and exercise more. But then you see that piece of cake and suddenly it's not so easy anymore. You might even say it's not such a piece of cake. Just leave. If you aren't happy, you'll be better off. Man, you try it. I'm not saying people should never leave, but it isn't as easy as walking away when things aren't right. When two lives are entwined together and your bills, pets, and lives are one and the same, you can't just decide you're unhappy and walk out, never to face that relationship again. It will never work that way, and you will always have to deal with logistics, moving, transferring the bills, breaking leases at times. Breaking up when you're in a serious relationship could easily cost you thousands in new bills to pay or in trying to get out of those bills. Get gold on this sub. The only gold I've ever gotten has been from here, but it's been completely random. There's no discernible pattern, no tendencies by which I can adjust my behavior to maximize gold input. I just have to cast as wide of a net as possible and hope for the best. God damn it. I agree. I've posted tons of comments that I thought were funny or insightful, but the only gilding I've received was for a gif of an owl taking a crap. It really is just a crapshoot. Flying. There is an art to flying, or rather a knack. Its knack lies in learning to throw yourself at the ground and miss. Clearly, it is this second part, the missing, that presents the difficulties. Douglas Adams. It's one thing to tell people throughout your life that someday, at the end, you don't want to be kept on life support or take extraordinary measures, but that you want for them to pull the plug and bring your life to an end. It's quite another when they come to you to sign the form authorizing them to carry out your wishes, and you can't bring yourself to go through with it. Lose weight. The know-it-alls say, it's easy, eat less, exercise more. I love food, I love beer. Giving up beer and eating a very, very small amount of food makes life miserable. Yes, I exercise, but it's not even a tiny bit fun and requires epic discipline to stick with. Communism. A completely equal, classless society where everyone has access to universal forms of healthcare, education, land management, with no elite leaders controlling the masses behind closed doors in theory, sadly has only turned into fascisms and dictatorships when applied in real life. This is why we can't have nice things. Drawing. Like in my head I can visualize it and see how I am supposed to move the pencil, shade and stuff. Then when my hand moves and I have a messy stick figure. Stopping hatred for others. As an Ismaili Muslim, 9/11 and other events have shaped me in a way I never imagined. I grew up watching my parents take the abuse from others who blamed us for attacks during 9/11. I remember my parents making me wear my Boy Scout uniform before we went out in the hopes that people would spare their anger and hatred seeing that I was in Boy Scouts. Fast forward to 2015 and seeing a bus full of relatives and members of my religious community being gunned down by Sunni extremists. These along with other events have left me scared and angered at Sunni Muslims. It left me with a deep hatred for them. I always questioned why they were constantly given the limelight and media attention and how they presented their narration as the definitive version for all Muslims. Point being, I have found it impossible to forgive and fear that I'm at a point where my hatred for Sunni Muslims is spreading. I found myself becoming more vocal in my displeasure with Sunnis and my views rubbing off onto others. I know that not all Sunni Muslims are the same, but I can't help but shake my hatred for them, and to come to a realization that hate begets hate proves to be too difficult for me. Any suggestions would be greatly appreciated, as I don't know how to let go of the feelings and ill will that I harbor. You know, when you are laying in bed about 10 minutes before you fall asleep, and you have all these plans about the next day, I find it impossible to lick my elbow. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.